let's walk through how to install and configure HID Linq from start to finish. And after this video, you're going to be enabled to push HID Signo configurations and firmware files through a Mercury red or black controller over OSDP and down to your readers. So let's go. If you're an end user and if you haven't yet established a mob key or access to your Origo portal, then this needs to come first. And you can easily self-onboard and fill out some really simple information. All you need to do is enter your contact information, such as your corporate email, first name, last name, and your phone number, and then some information about your organization that you're registering, where they're located. So we'll need address, city, state, country, zip, and you'll fill all this out and click submit. And you can self-register that easy. So all of this gets turned around pretty quickly by HID, and then you'll have access to your portal. And within this portal, this is where you'll add different technicians who have authorization to access HID Linq and your organization's unique configurations for your readers. For this video, we're going to assume that you already have all of this set up and that you have portal access established and you already have some technicians with permissions. If you don't have this part done yet and you need help, reach out to me and I'm glad to help you out. So once you're set up, you can log into your Origo portal and you can search for the technician that you want to grant or give access to for HID Linq. So we're going to expand this out and you'll see that's enable link option. And we can edit this and just simply click that little slider and enable HID Linq and then save this. And then this will grant that technician the ability to use HID Linq. So that technician, they're going to get an email and in there's going to be a link for HID Linq. So they'll click on that and they'll authenticate with their credentials. And then once they're in the HID Cloud portal, they can choose this little drop down and they can download the HID Linq Gateway for Windows-based machines. This will download pretty quickly. And then from there, they can start the installation process of HID Linq Gateway. This install happens really fast. And once it's installed, there's this simple README that you can read if you're interested. All right, so once we're installed, we need to start the gateway, and we can search for that in Windows. It's just an application called HID Linq Gateway.exe. And then the tech who has permission, they could authenticate using their credentials and they could start that application. Once it's started, it's going to show down in the system tray and you can always click on that and see things like refresh and exit, but you're probably not going to use that very often. If we go back into the HID Cloud portal, you can see that on this Reader tab, there will be a list of all the gateways. Here's my gateway that we just enabled and installed. It has my computer name. So we can always rename this into something maybe a little more friendly. So I'm going to call this Jeremy's Gateway, and then we'll save it. And now we can see that it's been renamed. From here, if we go out to Program Files, HID Global, HID Linq Gateway, the version of Linq that we're running, you'll see this configuration, executable, or program. And in here, this is where we're going to tell Linq that it's going to use Mercury controllers to manage the solution. Again, we need to authenticate as the technician, and then we'll say Manage with Mercury, and we'll click Begin. From there, we can click Discover. And in my setup, everything's on the same LAN. But we can do this across many different VLANs as well if needed. So this is going to go out and it's going to find all the Mercury controllers on that network. And here's mine. So we're going to select it. And then we're going to go up and click this Export Certificate. This digital certificate, this is going to be used for secure communication between the Mercury controller and the gateway. We're just going to restart that gateway really quick so it's running and we don't forget to select it later. All right, there it goes. Started successful. And then the next step, we need to install this certificate onto the Mercury controller so that we can trust and communicate. Now there's this README file, and this is really beneficial actually. So I'm going to include this on the screens as we go throughout. But let's walk through step by step on what you need to do as well. So the first thing, we need to log into the Mercury controller, go to Certificate Manager, and if you scroll down, you'll see Load the PEM certificate chain. You're going to choose HID Linq, and then we're going to browse out to where you just downloaded that certificate in the last step. We'll see that PEM certificate load here, and it's now in the list in our certificate management. We'll also need to configure the MQTT stuff. This is done through the HTS configuration portion of the web page. And we'll need the IP address of where the Linq gateway is installed. My address is .178, and then we'll go under the Linq configuration. We'll enter the IP with the port number. Username is going to be username, password is password. Again, all of this is in that README file. And then we'll just say configure Linq client. And then that's it. That's really all the configuration that's needed for an installation and setup of a Mercury panel. If we go back to the Linq Cloud portal and we go to our gateway, we can now see our Mercury controller, and we can click Discover. And this will discover all of the readers that are downstream from my controller, and we can start managing them from here. All right, so that's the core of setting up and installing HID Linq Gateway to be used with Mercury controllers. And it took us probably less than 10 minutes overall. It's really simple. So coming up on our next episode, we'll walk through HID Linq Cloud and how we actually push the configuration updates from the controller, from HID Linq down to your readers. And we'll do configuration through DCIDs, and we'll do firmware updates. That's the Mercury Minute. Stay open and stay secure, my friends. See you all next time.